Why am I even here? What relationships am I supposed to have? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? What am I supposed to be doing with my talents? What am I supposed to be doing with my gifts? Like, if you don't tell me, dude, I am a victim of circumstance. Like, anybody can say anything to me or do anything to me, and if I feel like everybody controls what I do, like, I want to know why I'm here.
Welcome to the Real Appreciation Podcast. I am David Claire Bennett, and with me today is an absolute inspiration. And man, do I mean that, because he is an actor, he's a speaker, he's a former professional athlete, and he's a man whose journey is as inspiring as the roles he plays. You know him from War Room, Courageous, and so many other incredible films. But beyond the screen, he's a leader. He's a man of deep faith and someone who's alive, who lives with a powerful sense of gratitude. Dude, please welcome to the Real Appreciation Podcast, the one, the only TC Stallings. What's up, man?
Hey, I appreciate that, David, man. Thanks for the awesome introduction.
You're welcome, man. Thank you for being a part of this.
Oh, man, it's an honor, man. It's an honor.
So it is to talk to you as well. And for those who may not know your full story, you've had success in both professional football as well as acting, and that's quite a journey on its own. Can you tell us a bit about how you transitioned from the football field over to the screen and what sparked that initial change?
Yeah, man. Well, just a 12-year-old kid growing up in rough parts, Cleveland, Ohio. You get up every day and, it's a hard life. It's a struggle. It's tough. It's dangerous. Sometimes, you don't even know if you're going to see another day. And I always tell people, like, my mother's biggest thing was, she wanted you to succeed in life, but her main thing was like, just come back home. Like, just don't die. And that's no joke. And so, when you're living like that, you start to make goals for yourself. And so I remember little 12-year-old kid couldn't afford to go to a Cleveland Browns game because I grew up in Cleveland, and I used to go past the stadium and hear games going on and just feel so bad that I couldn't afford it. And I remember setting a goal that day, like, you know what, forget going to a game. I'm gonna play in one of them stadiums one day. And that's kind of what started me playing football and trying to get out of the hood. And so I got good at it, got my scholarship, went off at Louisville. And so the NFL dreams are alive, the pro football dreams are alive. So you keep playing, you're playing well, you do amazing things, and you end up fulfilling your dream. And so now I'm playing in the Arena League, and I'm playing in the CFL. And then I went overseas in Europe. We won a Super Bowl over there. Everything's great. And I'm like, okay, time to go back to the States, get to the NFL, and just finish this dream off. And then I go start seeing movies. And I was always been a big movie fan, but one particular movie really got under my skin to the point where the whole theater was taken aback by it. And that's when the acting bug really kind of started to bite on me. And I'm like, I think I know what I want to do when I transition out. Because at this point, I'm like 32 years old, getting towards the end of my career. Still had a few good years left, but this acting thing bit me hard. And then so I'm like, let me pray about it and see if it's something the Lord want me to do. And I said, well, I got to find somebody who's going to open a door for me. And in 1 year that happened. After that prayer, 1 year later, I'm starring in Courageous, and I got my big break. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna ride this thing out. Then Hollywood called, and I know this is going real fast, but this kind of felt like that's how it happens. Like, Hollywood saw that movie, then they called and said, hey, if you come out here, we'll represent you. So I got signed with an agent. 3 years later, I'm in the number one movie in America, War Room, and the rest is history. So that's like a very, very quick, oh gosh, just because of time, it would take me a long time to flesh out that whole thing, but that's like the cliff notes of how I gave up everything with sports to start doing film, because the calling was like verified. I knew it was where I was supposed to be because all these things started working out, and I've just never looked back.
That is so beautiful, man. And can I say, please, I am so proud of you, dude. That is so inspiring.
I appreciate it, man. It means a lot because, like I said, is when you wake up, man, you got your mother who is doing everything she can to take care of you. Single mom for a long time until I was about 9 years old. I didn't meet my dad until I was like 18. So just watching her struggle all the time, and then that was my motivation every day. And it was just like I want to be able to retire her and take care of her, and she's working so hard. Now I was fortunate when I uh, turned 10, my mother boyfriend, she married him and remarried. And so my stepfather come and took the sting off a little bit, but we still were kind of struggling. And so my goal was just to just do something and give it back. And in doing so, trying to be selfless towards other people, I started to find my purpose and my whole life is starting to change. And I look, if you ask me, I was going to be a pro football player. But the Lord had other plans, and here I am in acting, a guy that never had an acting class, knew nothing about it, didn't have agents, didn't have connections, didn't have managers, all the things they say you have to say. I just went in with passion and a desire to do something in my life that would serve other people. And man, the Lord blessed it. And that continues to be my model today. I'm just trying to inspire people and doors keep opening. And so I'm just going to keep running through them.
Man, I really relate to that because I was actually a professional wrestler who turned into an actor. So it's very similar.
That's awesome. Where'd you wrestle? After high school and college and all that
I
stuff?
used to do pro wrestling, like WWE stuff.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. I'm a fan. Like I watch WWE. Like I
Me
just watch
too.
the Royal Rumble and stuff, man.
Did you like it?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I think well, it depends. It depends. I think a little too many gimmicks.
Indeed.
Yeah, yeah. And then, I think it kind of got a little predictable a little bit. Even when the end, like when you could tell that they weren't gonna let John Cena win. Like it was just kind of like it wasn't the normal be surprised and like,
Mhm.
oh, so I hope they make up for that with some of this other stuff. But I don't know. It's always cool to see them all coming out and running out, but it looked a little too gimmicky for me. It looked a little too, I don't know.
Well, both football and acting are obviously incredibly competitive fields on their own, with their own unique pressures as well. What are some of the biggest mental as well as emotional challenges you've faced in pursuing these careers, and what strategies have you used to overcome those?
Man, I think the hardest part about what I do is I want to be um, an actor that honors God with my career. And a lot of people think that means that, all he's going to do is like spiritual movies or something like that. I'm like, actually, no. What people don't understand about me is I never set out to be a faith-based film actor. It was just that just so happened to be the path that the Lord gave me because I just knew it was going to be clean because I don't want to do work where I got to use bad language and all of that because becoming a Christ follower I had stopped doing all of that and the entertainment industry and music that you listen to in the entertainment industry and movies, music, all that stuff. If you feed yourself consistently this like horror stuff or cussing stuff or whatever, if you struggle with that, that's like a person who just finished getting off drugs, always hanging around drugs. Now, it's one thing if you don't have a problem with it, but if you struggle, then you shouldn't be around that. And so for me, I used to be a compromising Christian, man. I didn't know what I was doing. I had bad language and I had bad habits. And so I cleaned all of that stuff up. Now I'm acting. I don't want to get into situations that make me use that language all over again. Well, when you set these standards for yourself, you're also limiting yourself when it comes to work because I've had to turn down so many scripts where I got to say MF this and MF that and or I don't kiss other women other than my wife. That's another rule I have because I don't want to mess up my 23-year marriage. You know what I mean? Um, and so turning down roles so that I do what I feel is honoring to God is always hard to say no to stuff. But what keeps me going is I look in scripture and it's like, he says, if you deny me before men, I'll deny you before the Father. But if you honor me before men, I'll honor you before the Father. And so for me, I'm like, I'm gonna always honor God and never put my career ahead of him. And knowing that if he's the one that calls the shots, not people. So I don't let them put the pressure on me. I'm like, the Lord wants me to do this, it's gonna happen. If he don't, he doesn't, as long as I'm walking with him. And that keeps me cool, man. It keeps me, I know I'm walking in my purpose. And when you know your purpose, that's what keeps me having the courage to say no when I need to say no, yes when I need to say yes. And it keeps me trusting and keeps me cool just walking in my purpose. So that's like the biggest thing for me in my career is knowing that God approves of what I'm doing. And if that happens, I'm good. And it's something I've been living by my whole career and it's something I'll continue until I'm done.
That's amazing, and it's very inspiring. So thank you for being real and honest with me for that, dude. Many people, regardless of their profession, struggle with a lot of self-doubt and the feeling of being overwhelmed, as you know. And I love to get into people's brains, dude. And for this, I always notice how many people's answers vary from person to person. But I actually think that's like such a beautiful, kind of similar, beautiful thing. So if you had to give any advice to someone who might be currently finding themselves in a similar situation, as you were at one point, would you give to someone who's what advice would you give to someone who's facing these types of challenges, especially when it comes to things like pursuing our dreams?
The thing that changed my life, and I'm so grateful for this,
Yeah.
is so, and again, not to keep bringing up, scripture, but I don't know no other way. And I'm one of them people that when I first started out, reading scripture and applying or whatever, I just saw too many hypocrites for me to believe it for myself. You know what I mean? And it really messed me up. And when I look at what other people do, rather than trying it for myself. So when I tried it for myself and I started reading and I'm just like, let me see how to walk this thing out. I came across the scripture, Psalms 139:16. It says, you saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. Now, this is something I come across, and I'm a guy that was struggling with depression from like not understanding life. And I had a fear of death. It was killing me. It was crippling me. Like I couldn't even enjoy my life because it's like, you start doing something and you just like, when you die, what happens and you could die at any moment and what does this mean and what does that mean? You have all these questions. And so that was something that was making it hard for me to even enjoy my life. And then when you go and try and do something and it don't succeed and fail, or you can't get a job, or you can't, like, it's just days of stuff don't work out. I'm just like, what is the dang on point? Like, and you can't find these answers, and then you go ask for help, and then don't nobody know what to tell you. This stuff was getting on my nerves, and it's making it really hard to get out of the bed and just live your life and achieve because you're getting tired of being crapped on and all of that. I read that scripture and I'm like, okay, this God that I believe in, it says here that every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. That means you know my purpose. So then I flipped to some other scriptures and it says in James 1:5, if you lack wisdom, you could ask God, who gives generously without finding fault. So I'm like, yo, I can ask God about my purpose and he'll give me the wisdom to live it out. So I'm like, I don't have to like try and figure this out anymore. I don't have to wonder what my purpose is. I can live life on purpose with a purpose. So I ask a simple question like, Lord, why am I even here? What relationships am I supposed to have? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? What am I supposed to be doing with my talents? What am I supposed to be doing with my gifts? Like, if you don't tell me, dude, I am a victim of circumstance. Like anybody can say anything to me or do anything to me, and if I feel like everybody controls what I do, like I want to know why I'm here. And when I asked that question and I said those prayers through circumstances and life and relationships, I got my answer. So I'm a guy now that wakes up every day. I know why I'm here. I know what I'm supposed to do. I have value, and that's the key. That's what keeps you alive. Like that's what keeps me going. That I'm here doing what God made me to do. Without knowing that anything can happen and it be swaying you. So my advice to people would just be ask God what your purpose is. Period. You were made on purpose with a purpose. You have a reason for being here. The problem is when you don't know what that is. And how do you know a good idea from the thing that God like is his idea? It's like I don't like the confusion of life, but knowing that I'm led by somebody who planned it out for me and I can pray to him and I can live with a purpose on purpose, yo, that was game changing for me. And so that would be my advice is that you fall into a hole when you don't know why you're here
Yeah.
because anybody can fill that space and it can get filled negatively. And if you can't figure it out, then you don't want to do anything. But can you imagine waking up every day knowing what your purpose is, knowing why you're here, knowing what you need to do, and then doing that? And especially when it involves serving other people and other people getting happy. I mean, how you feel when somebody's like, yo, David, this last podcast you did, I listened to it and it changed my life. Thank you,
Totally.
man. That is what drives you more than likes and all of that. It's you and what you said and changed somebody's life. I mean, bro, I listened to your testimony. I listened to the whole thing. I was so inspired by what you said. That's what made me say to my team, like, yo, I want to get on his podcast. He's a good dude. He's a
Thank you.
strong dude. That dude, he overcame. And so now your purpose is the you that overcame, you can identify with all these people and tell them how to do it too.
Hmm.
That's purpose. So that would be my advice. Know why you here, and that's going to give you the energy to keep going and keep doing what you need to do. And you can take the lumps too, because when I'm supposed to be doing something, I'm cool with the hard that comes with it. I hate the hard when I'm not supposed to be doing it or I'm unsure and I got to feel pain. But if I'm supposed to be doing it, I call that ordained pain. I'm like, oh, that was meant for me. Bring it on, because I'm gonna grow from it. It's like going to the gym. You know it hurts to lift those weights, but I know what the result's gonna be.
Yeah.
So I signed up for this. This is a plan. So that would be my advice, man. And well, I kind of went off there for a minute, didn't I?
Oh, I loved it, dude. You're on par to become one of the top three guests so far on the show's history. I love it. I love the energy you're bringing here, dude. Thank you so much for your kind words, too, man. Like, I always tell myself this. Even if my videos only get like 100, 200 views, doesn't matter. As long as my story or my advice or one of the guest stories, somebody could find their story of their own through one of our voices, it touched one person, then it mattered. That's all.
Absolutely. That attitude, dude, that attitude takes you so far. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
It's like people be wanting 1,000 likes. You know what? I would trade one person who really loved what I did for 999 people that just made a mistake and hit the like button, because you don't know who that one person
Mhm.
actually is. That one person may be the person that can really like make something really happen in the world. I always think of stuff like, the one per I'm making this up, but like the one person that made Martin Luther King want to be a civil rights activist or whatever, that person is a very important person, rather than, thousands of people who don't even inspire you. So everybody matters, man. That's a great attitude to take.
Absolutely. You've achieved so much in your career, too. Looking back, is there anything you wish you had known earlier about either mental and emotional well being, something you could share with your younger self that you would today?
The number one thing I would tell my younger self is take care of your insecurities. Um, insecure Insecureness leads to so many bad decisions. Um, when you're insecure, you may do things out of anger. You might try to force things. You have no patience. You have anxiety. Um, you doubt yourself. You wonder if you're good enough. You be thinking, is this actor better than me? Did I do a good job? Did they really mean it? Why are they so quiet? What are they really thinking? It's just all these different things. But all that goes out the window when you say, hey, I studied, I worked hard, I gave it my best. They're going to have to accept it because I can't do more than 100%. And if they don't accept it, then I wasn't meant to be here. But the fact that you called me in for this audition, man, I belong. And I don't care who else is here, whether it's an A-lister or somebody who I've seen in a bunch of movies. Well, guess what? They called me too. So that means I'm just as good or just as like I have just as much opportunity as you. And I do believe that I can get it. And it won't shock me if I do. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, and if I don't, I don't. Um, Insecurities really hold you back. And so I would tell my younger self, don't be insecure. Don't think you got to prove everything. Don't worry about tomorrow. That's another thing. The unknown makes you insecure. Hey, bro, win today. If you have one good day today, then just wake up and repeat that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the next 5 days because you don't even know what's going on. Win today. You're gonna lose today, worried about tomorrow. So just get today's victory. Go to bed saying, "Gosh, I killed it today," and now all I got to do is wake up and do that again. So you count your wins one day at a time instead of always looking at the. I didn't know none of this. I didn't know how to just enjoy the fact that I just scored 5 touchdowns in a college game or
Yeah.
something like that versus I got to get to the NFL. I got to get to the NFL. I got to see that's how you fumble in your college games and drop passes because you're so pressured. So I would tell my younger self, just be secure in who you are, take it one day at a time. I will for sure jump on my faith a lot sooner because I'm way better than I was when I was a kid. And all those things together would just make me like, dude, I'd be a crazy force. But I always say no regrets because if you change anything in the past, then I might not know my wife or my kids. You know what I mean? So like, that's what helps me say, no, we can't change nothing, but I will keep this stuff going moving forward. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I tell my younger self. Don't be insecure and trust God, man. And then that's it.
You lose today worrying about tomorrow. That's one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard. I need to get that framed now and you got to sign it for me.
Bro, ain't it the truth though?
Yeah.
Like, ain't it the truth? Because it ain't even came yet. You know what I mean? You know, it got its own problem. Like, but right now, what's in front of you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What literally is in front of you? You know, if you got three job interviews and you on the first one, you want to nail them all. And you at the first job interview thinking about the third. The third is 5 days from now. And you screwing up the first one. You know what I mean? It's just, oh, I'm here. Let me win this one.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'll win that one. And then in 5 days I'll win that one. And then we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? And it's just, and then be secure. Like, hey, I did my best. I know I'm good. You wouldn't have called me if you didn't think I was. You know what I mean? And so
Absolutely.
I didn't have this. I'm talking big talk now, but I didn't have this earlier in my life, early in my career. I was more afraid. I was more insecure. I always needed somebody to kind of put a stamp on my abilities. And you want praise, you want a pat on the back, you want to know. But now, when I go in a room and do my best, I don't care if you don't say nothing, because I know what good looks like. I know what my best looks like. And that's how I live now. And it's just amazing to be secure. So much so now that I have to ask for the Lord to keep me humble. I'm so confident now that I'm like, Lord, don't let me lose my humility.
Yeah.
Help me to stay loving and kind and humble. But man, I thank you for this confidence and being secure in myself. And so yeah, it's huge.
And speaking of lifting people up, something I love so freaking much is gratitude and appreciation. And every day when I wake up, dude, I say three things I'm grateful for. And before I go to bed, I say the same things. I say three more things that I'm grateful for. Sometimes I'll make it four. Sometimes I'll make it five. There's no limit, dude. So I want to reverse that and flip that onto you and ask you, what are three things you're grateful for in this present moment between us right here, right now?
Yeah. Well, right now, first of all, I'm thankful that I can literally say to myself, Lord, I'm getting ready to talk to a quality guy.
Yeah.
I just want to be present in the moment and just let him be himself and let me be myself. And let's just have a conversation. Like we're just sitting, having a cup of coffee and just talking like friends
Yeah.
with nothing to gain, nothing to. And what I love about that, what I'm appreciative is I'm appreciative for Jesus that I know that he has a purpose for everybody and I can trust him and I want to honor him. And I'm thankful that I fear God because that's what keeps me from being a jerk in this life,
Yeah.
which is so easy to do and just do wrong things and sinful things. Man, I fear God, you know. And then lastly, I'm thankful that I have a purpose because without it, I honestly can't say that I think that I could live life. Like I just I don't know. I think I would struggle big time because too many circumstances will dictate my happiness and
Yeah.
my joy. But the fact that I have a purpose in Christ, I get a joy from that, regardless of what's going on. But without that, it's just things matter to me too much. Like the job didn't work out, or you know, this person doesn't like me, or you know, the if you lose something of value to you or you know just all these different life is full of too many things that occur all the time that if I don't have a purpose I'm subject to my environment and my circumstances and whether I got money or friends or whatever. But when you got purpose and you have this joy that it's just that's what fuels my life and I'm so grateful that I have that perspective because without it I just think life for me living it would be really, really hard. And finally, I'm grateful for meaningful relationships where you can impact others and other people can impact you. You can serve other people, whether they serve you back or not. And so in this moment right here, like I would consider this a meaningful relationship because you
Yeah.
can't look and find tons and tons and tons of podcasts with me on and with people because me and my wife and my family, I pray about whether I should do one or not. And for me, for whatever reason, this one was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've never met you before in my life. You know, I'm not even a big media guy or whatever, but I'm just like, oh, I'm doing this one. I'm doing this one. And so I think I'm thankful for meaningful conversations and this is a meaningful conversation that we both will grow from, and someone will hear this and they'll grow from it. So that means a lot to me.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be amazing. TC Stallings, what an honor this was to sit across from you, my friend, and pick just a little bit of your brain today. You're truly an inspiration to not just me, but obviously to millions of people. You should be so proud of yourself. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. I'm so proud of you for everything you have accomplished in your life so far.
Well, for sure, man, for sure, absolutely. Because, like I said, Uh, I think you'll be a fan of because you talked about being a fan of my work. I got another film that is literally in pre-production right now, and I can't say a ton about it, but if you look up on IMDb and you're looking at my projects, you're going to see a movie called The Lincoln League, and it's a true story, and it's just based on the Civil War period because there were African American spies that were fighting on the uh, the Union side against the Confederates. And it's a lot of people don't know this part of history, and so they're going to tell this story. And so I play a character in that, and then we'll get into more as I'm able to say more. But this is a period piece. I've never done this before. Very, very challenging, which will explain why I'm, growing the 5 o'clock shadow and all of this hair. People are just like, "What are you doing?" It's like, well,
You'll see.
yeah, you'll see, you'll see. It's like they can't, I'm always usually lined up and trimmed. Well, they didn't have that back in 1863. So,
They did not have just for men, I promise.
right. You know what I mean? So I gotta just, so I'm just getting prepared for that. And you'll hear more about that as the, as the time draws near.
Well, thank you so much. I'm David Claire Bennett. He is TC Stallings. He's going to be an amazing timepiece movie coming very, very soon. You've been watching to or listening to the Real Appreciation Podcast. Thank you again, my man. I truly appreciate you so, so much.
Thanks, boss.